From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One ball, corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill in Tallahassee, Florida. Coming up on today's show, practice observations. Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill in Tallahassee, Florida. CPTallybar.com. That's the website. You can also visit it by pulling out your phone, opening up that camera app, and that little funky barcode you see on your screen if you're on YouTube or pretty much anywhere that's got the logo for this show. Just pew, pew, or snap, snap. I don't know. Better sound effects. Low budget today on the program. Hit that QR code. You'll go right to the website. You can check out the menu. You can place your order online and get some directions. It's right on Appalachian Parkway. You cannot miss it. It's a beacon on an otherwise bleak stretch of road leading to our state's capital.
And a good place to be on Sundays.
Ooh,
yeah. I was there this past Sunday. I meant to mention this on yesterday's show. I didn't realize this, but it's happy hour for the whole day.
What?
So you get drink deals, you get 2 for the price of one, or doubles instead of singles, whatever you're looking for. So yeah, you want to go up there Sunday, watch some football, like a lot of people did, because it was very, very crowded on Sunday. It's a good place to be. And like I said, the biggest thing they do is they have somebody, Fish, who knows exactly what game is on what TV and knows how to switch it to something else very, very quickly. And as soon as the 1 p.m. game's over, he switches it to the 4:25 game on another channel. But that wall of TVs, that Vegas wall, it's 8 different games at once.
Awesome. Competency.
Is there anything more annoying than going to a sports bar and the people don't know how to work the TVs or change the channels?
What channel is it on? I don't know. What do you have? Do you have cable? Do you have direct? Do you have dish? I don't know. It's on CBS.
Yeah.
Do you know what channel that is? I don't know. Look it up.
Yeah. No, you don't have to worry about that at CP, baby.
Yeah. Check it out, Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. There'll be a happy hour there next Friday as Florida State readies for their return off the bye week against Georgia Tech. That's a noon game. Kickoff ACC Network will also be live at the Hotel Indigo pregame show, as well as watch along with Dominic Robinson and myself. All right, Corey, I wasn't able to watch too much of practice on Tuesday. Got tied up uploading the video that no one cares about any longer, apparently. Sorry, come on, people. Start watching the video. Come on, I'm out there working for y'all.
We see how it is. You're going to watch them all when they're winning, but when they're on a little losing streak, all of a sudden you don't care as much. Come on, gang. They're still your team.
Yeah. Focused a little bit as much as I could on Winston Wright. Did not try to get a gander over at Fabian Lovett, but I did see Fabian Lovett later on in practice. I'll try here on Wednesday morning as we get to go out to practice. I'll see if I can get see if I can get Fabian on film. Not sure what he does in those first opening periods. But the only thing I really did notice was early on.
He certainly did more, but he did much more on Tuesday than we've seen in, 7 weeks?
Oh, I mean, he wasn't even
right.
Can we talk openly? I mean, like,
yeah. Well, I mean, you had him on film, like going through stuff. Like,
he was walking through the stretch line. He wasn't doing anything.
Okay. Well, no. I'll comment on it. Yeah, he was. He looks. Let's just say I would be very surprised at this point, the way he looked on Tuesday of a bye week, that he would not be ready to go for Georgia Tech, which is good news, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and, it's something that we talk about. Maybe we don't emphasize it enough. I just, I don't know the injury report on every team. I just think, I would assume most every team is going through some sort of injury bug on their, maybe not as profound or pronounced as Florida State, but they're missing guys they want to have. But yeah, you just think about it. If you get 20 reps out of Fabian Lovett, man, you're in these one-possession games you've been in these last 3 weeks. That can change the tide of things. And not, Robert Scott gets a week to get healthier, and Robert Cooper gets a week to get healthier. All these guys. Although I do want to ask Coop, he'll be returned to his show on next Monday, 7:30, in the Coop with Robert Cooper. I do feel like sometimes we on the outside are like, they got a bye week. They'll be good to go after that. Just 1 week, they'll be good. That 1 week is just going to do them all the, like this. He's just playing with who knows what's been bothering him, and as though not having a game, because they're still practicing, everybody, and they're thudding. They're not getting tackled to the ground, but I just do wonder, on the outside looking, it just sounds real nice. Like, the bye week will do them a world of good, but I just wonder how much they can possibly recuperate. But still, though, Fabian's return would be huge. I'll try to get some more content of him at practice on Wednesday morning. The thing that stood out to me in the early part of practice I think period 3 they finished with the Ryan Fitzgerald field goal. Shot out Fitzy. Nailed it. But, man, Mike Norvell was very vocal, was very loud. I mean, he's usually, yelling out instructions to people and moving from station to station. But, man, those first opening 2 periods, like as soon as they got done with stretch, which is when they got with the war chant playing, man, you could just hear his voice reverberating throughout the IPF. I mean, he made it a point and emphasis to make sure that his voice was being heard, that these guys were being pushed, that they weren't going to, slack off. Not that they would, but, just he was asserting himself in a way that I had not seen maybe previously, but he's always active and loud. That stood out to me. It's like, man, he's going to make sure that they know that even though it's a bye week, man, they're there to work. So that caught me in the first half of practice. What about the remainder of it when you kind of took over with your opinions and your insight, Corey?
There wasn't a ton. It was a light practice. It's a bye week. So it wasn't like a lot of game plan there was none really. It was all them on them. What did stand out, Aslan, is the scout jerseys were off.
Yeah.
So we got to see players again. Like we got to know who was who. So that was cool for the third string guys. They were out there and you got to see them actually in their uniform numbers. I did think there was a lot of one-on-one type stuff in 7-on-7, not a ton of 11-on-11, but the team stuff, they did compete. Like I was wondering if they were what they would even do, but they did a lot of, receivers versus DBs and O-line versus D-line. I thought the receivers got the better of that. I continue to be impressed with Renardo Green, man. He made an interception, had another couple really nice pass breakups. I mean, I'm starting to think that dude is an NFL cornerback, which who would have thought that? I mean, that guy's good, man. It seems like, anyway, he's turned into one of the best cornerbacks in the ACC, which when the season started, you're like, can you survive having Renardo Green over there? And it turns out, yeah, he's the best one you got. And it doesn't seem to be all that close. So, again, I was just really impressed with him. I thought Travis was sharp for the most part. Who made a really nice catch? Somebody made a really nice – Deuce Spann on a deep ball kind of ripped a ball away from Jarian Jones. It was an underthrown pass. It was just a one-on-one, basically a fly route. And Jarian Jones was right there to make the interception, and Deuce just kind of ripped it out of his hands as he was falling down and ran away with it. So, and he also made a contested catch against Jarian over the middle on like a really shallow slant cross where Jarian was like really upset with himself. But Deuce made a nice catch, man. It was a good throw. I can't remember who threw it. It was a good throw, but Deuce made a nice catch. And again, you see that kind of stuff, and you're like, is Deuce part of the plan?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't know. And Winston Wright, again, he did more stuff today than he's done. So that to me stood out a little bit, that he was actually involved in some of the things I was just talking about. So that lends itself to me that, and again, I have no idea at all. I would think that means he's going to be ready to go for these last 5 games. I think maybe that was their plan all along. Maybe was to get to this bye week. It's weird, man. In Jacksonville, if you'd asked me in Jacksonville when we went over there, I'm like, man, that guy's gonna be playing by week 3.
Yeah.
And then it just over the last 6 weeks, it's been pretty obvious that wasn't necessarily going to be the case. But now I'm bullish, man, that he's going to be back and he's going to play. Here down the stretch, it'll be interesting to see where he's sprinkled into though. Like they went the first half of the season without having any slot receivers really, except Micah. And now they got Ja'Kai back, and now I think they probably have Winston back, at least in some capacity. And, it'll be interesting to see where he fits in.
Yeah, I was wondering if I know you said these last 5 games, which is correct. They've got 5 more games left, but he can play in 4 and then still preserve a red shirt. But he's listed as a redshirt junior. Unsure if that redshirt was the 2020 season. But in any case, he has another year of eligibility, so he could play in all 5 of these, and if things don't go his way and he wants to come back, which I would assume he would, he could. He's got 1 more year of eligibility left. I'll keep an eye on him. I remember seeing him last week in a route on air, and just the way he got off was like, doesn't feel like we're at full capacity right there.
Yeah, but then I watched him today because I saw that too, and I watched him today, and it was like, oh yeah, that's that. Yeah, to me he looked good.
Okay. Right.
He looked good. So again, we'll see. We what do we got? 10, 11 days until that game. And even if he does play, how familiar is he with the route concepts, reading, going full speed? I don't know how, hopefully maybe there's a chance you get a nice substantial lead and you can sprinkle him in then and get him ready for the next 4 games. But I was very, very, I was very impressed isn't the right word, but encouraged, I guess, with what I saw on Tuesday.
I saw Jarquez make a pick. Shout out Jarquez. Shout out Pac-Man.
Okay.
Like in 7, maybe 11,
right,
maybe 11 on 11, 7 on 7, I don't know. But he made a pick. It
I
was
saw
nice.
DJ Lundy had an interception.
Right,
DJ Lundy had an interception on a bad pass from Jordan, which it looked like McDonald went out when Jordan thought he was going to go in. And it was just one of those. It was kind of like that. There was nobody open initially. He threw it. I think he thought Cam McDonald was going to break back inside towards him, and instead went back outside, and he threw it right to DJ Lundy. But DJ caught it and ran with it. So that was cool. That's making a play. And again, when we think about this team, not that you asked this question, we were just talking about practice, but as we talked about on headlines on Tuesday, there is a chance this team finishes with 8 or 9 wins. Would you say it's a good chance? If they play on average like they played the first 7 games of the season, considering the competition and how it should soften a bit, do you think
Are we counting
if they
bowl
play
games
just
for the 8?
No,
Okay.
no. So the chances of them winning 4 or 5 of the next 5, because I think it's at least.
Yeah, I mean, I
think
they'll
it's a
win 2 out of
50%
3
chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they'll win 2 out of 3. Syracuse, Miami, Florida. So that's 5-6, and then you're beating Louisiana at home 7, and you should beat Georgia Tech. I mean, I don't know if we'll see anything Thursday
You
night.
don't beat Georgia Tech at home.
Yeah, you should absolutely.
That's trouble.
Well, yeah, then everything comes unglued there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know but you could beat Georgia Tech, you could beat Syracuse, and you could beat Miami and Louisiana, but then lose to Florida. But that puts you still that would put you at 8 wins. Yeah. So, yeah, it's totally within the realm of possibility, probability.
Yeah.
But you were 4-0.
I don't know if it's a probability, but it's not. It's not laughable though, because again, when you look at the totality of the way they played and who they played, there have been moments where they dominated the LSU game. They dominated stretches of that LSU game, and that LSU team's pretty good. Now, the team that you should have for the next 5 games is the team that's the closest to the one that played in the Superdome. Fabian Lovett's back. Hopefully, Jared Verse is healthier. Robert Scott is healthier. Well, Robert Scott wasn't healthy for that game, was he? I can't remember.
I think he was good for LSU.
Somebody was hurt. I can't remember who was hurt for that game. Yeah, maybe he got hurt at the because he got hurt at Louisville. So you've got basically the 22 that you started the LSU game with. And Johnny Wilson, I think, would be healthier. So that's good news, man, because I think that team that played LSU, other than the meltdown, that's a good football team. I think that's the best they've looked from really from the opening kickoff. I know they missed some field goals and didn't convert. I thought the offense was good throughout, and then the defense was good until 11 minutes were left. You get that, that's a good football team, and that can beat everybody left on the schedule, probably by multiple scores, if they play up to what they are. But that's the rub, right? Like, this team has shown that it's inconsistent. So getting Fabian Lovett back, getting Jared Verse healthier, getting Jamie Robinson, Tatum Bethune, all these guys healthier, Robert Cooper, does that also improve the consistency level that you're looking for? Or is that just a part of this team? Is there going to be some really maddening bouts of inconsistency? Because, again, I think overall, when you look at this season, I know you're in the midst of a 3-game losing streak. I think you're probably pleased with the progress you've seen. But, man, you can't have a 28-0 run that you had against Wake Forest, a 16-0 run to close out the game against NC State that you gave up, and a 27-0 run you had against Clemson. That stuff has to stop. And I don't know why that's happening. But this team is too good a team, in my opinion. It's not a great team, but it's a good enough team that 28-0 runs in their stadium should not happen. That I don't know why that is happening. It kind of speaks to me of a team that gets a little tight when things go bad. That's not good. That needs to be shifted, because Clemson didn't get tight when things went bad, did they? Clemson was down 14-7, immediately went and tied the game. And then they went and took control of the game in a 2-minute stretch. Wake Forest didn't get tight when they got down 7-0 after a horrible loss the week before. So I'd like to see that shifted with this team and this program. But otherwise, hey, man, you are on track. I think we'd both agree you are on track right now as we speak. On October 19th, you are on track to get to 8 wins. 9 wins maybe if you win the bowl.
Great points. Great salient points, Corey. We'll talk about that more. But first, it is winning season. Why don't you get involved in the winning over at MyBookie? You go to mybookie.ag, you use the promo code WARCHANT, and your first deposit will be instantly doubled up to $1,000. If you want to put more than $1,000, that's on you. But they'll double the first grand, and then you can put it on pretty much anything. Basketball's now started up. Obviously, Major League Baseball playoffs, hot here into October. And then college football as well. I don't know if there's any games out there that you're pondering right now. Clemson, a 13.5-point favorite at home against Syracuse. The over-under 50. I think I would hammer the over. I'll give the points. And I don't know what I'm going to do Virginia, Georgia Tech. I think I'll take Georgia Tech 3 points as a favorite. What do you think about that Clemson-Syracuse line, Corey?
What is it?
13.5. Clemson favorite at home, noon, Death Valley.
Man, I think there's a chance Syracuse believes. I don't think that Clemson team is incredible. I don't think Syracuse can win that game, but I certainly think they can keep it close. I believe in those offensive guys. I believe that quarterback's going to make some plays. So that's a lot of points, man. That's a lot of points. So I think Clemson's going to win by 10. That's all I'm saying out there. That's all I'm saying.
If you know better than Corey, which you probably don't, but you know better than I do, go to mybookie.ag. Use that promo code WARCHANT, get set up, and make your Saturdays, Thursdays now. I think the MAC is going down on Wednesday nights now. It's fantastic. All days of the week there's football out there. Get involved. Get a little more fun in it with MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Yeah, Corey, I agree with your points made before we took a little break there. They have been inconsistent, but they've been inconsistent against really good teams. So when you look at the schedule on the back end of it, you're like, well, Georgia Tech, Louisiana. I don't know if Syracuse is going to provide that same level, although being on the road, it will be a little bit dicey.
Yeah, that'll be a tough game, especially if Syracuse still has a really nice record and is ranked, and their fans will be into that game.
But that's certainly not a foregone conclusion because their schedule right now is like 17th in the country right now, and they're playing Clemson this week, and then they've got they've got Notre Dame,
and then at Pitt.
Yeah, so we'll see how much that schedule and that record is still intact. Although, I do think about the away part is what scares me about that game and then Miami, because I do think about the way they played against Louisville, where, again, they roared back, but it was with Tate at quarterback. The NC State game gets me a little bit nervous because the way they played in that situation, and Devin Leary going down. I think Tyler Van Dyke might have kind of found a little bit of a rhythm here. I think they might have found another receiver. I know they missed their top guy here the last few weeks, but this Colby Young kid seems like maybe he could be potentially a weapon they can go for, 6'5". But yeah, we saw them fall short against ranked teams, man. It happens. It's not, you want to be able to beat some of these teams, but there's not a lot on the back end of the schedule. So if they can regain that form against LSU, maybe, hopefully that's good enough to win those games. My question to you, though, I don't want to look too far ahead here, but if 8's kind of that sort of quasi, line of demarcation we all kind of came into an agreement with, and then it's within their reach. It's definitely within their reach. If they hit 8, I know then people are like, all right, just maybe get to 9 next year, get to 10 next year, and we'll be talking about this for the next year and a half or a year at least. If they win 8 this year, which I think they can, I certainly think they can. Is asking to win the Atlantic, is that too much of a jump on the climb to win your division next year, coming off 8?
Well, they don't have divisions next year, so that we're lucky in that.
That's true.
Divisions go away. So, yes, that's asking way too much. You can't ask them to win the Atlantic, Aslan, when there won't be an Atlantic to win. How dare you? No, but I think you should. It's definitely not out of the realm to be in contention. And if we're truthful,
that's the next step, though, right?
They were in contention this year.
Yeah, that should be the next
absolutely.
Step. Yeah, okay.
Look, man, and so when you look at, and I know people not everybody loves these efficiency numbers, the FREMRAU, the Football Outsiders, PFF, but like Florida State right now, Aslan, according to PFF, who you use a lot to grade things, Florida State has the 6th best offense in the country. And when I go to running, Florida State has the 7th best running offense in the country. They have the 13th best passing offense in the country. These are by the PFF measurements. The defense is 48th, which is not good, but it's not horrific. We've seen horrific around here. And special teams is top 5. These all portend to a team that should win 8 or 9 games this year if this extrapolates out. So, but again, it's why doing this for football is so weird, because there are only 12 games and it can shift so much from week to week. But if Florida State continues to play as it's played the first 7 weeks, including all the inconsistency, and you get a real Fabian Lovett back, and you get a better Jared Verse, there's no reason this team doesn't win 8 games. None.
Yeah.
And if they don't, it'll be a disappointment, because they are good enough to do it. You got to go win some tough games, man. That's just how the world works. But you're good enough to do it. You've got real weaponry that you haven't had in a while. You go into games, I think with a better team in every game you're about to play. Literally, every game you're about to play, I think you're the better team. I don't know that they're the better team against Wake. I certainly know they weren't the better team against Clemson. NC State had a better defense, but they should have won that game. They gave that game away. But you just look at this schedule and what you've done, what you've kind of proven through these first 7 games. All the efficiency numbers think Florida State should be a 9-win team. FIMRAO has them like in the teams that are pretty good on offense and pretty good on defense. They're like rubbing elbows with Michigan and Georgia. But they're 4-3, and those teams are undefeated. I don't think Florida State should be undefeated, and I don't think they're as good as Georgia and Michigan. These efficiency numbers can be goofy. But the overall sentiment is true. I think this team is a good team that doesn't have a great record right now. But by the end of the year, I think if you have 8 or 9 wins, 8 wins especially, 9 wins seems like a reach because it just feels like you drop one of these games. But if you're 8-4, man, I don't think anybody can nitpick with that, considering where this program was. I think that is a really big step in the right direction. But like you, I'm not worried about efficiency ratings much anymore. I'm just using that as a tool to gauge how I view these last 5 games. Yep. But I'm worried. As I told them on Headlines, I'm a result-oriented person from here on out.
Oh, okay.
I'm a result-oriented person. You are good enough to compete. I'm not going to commend that anymore. We know you're good enough to compete. We know you don't quit. We know you fight. You've got to start figuring out a way to win these games. Starting now. Now that you threw that gauntlet, starting now, there are really no excuses to not win at least 4 of these 5 games. Unless injuries happen.
Right. Traditionally, they're 26th in total offense, 60th in scoring offense. 25th,
that's a problem, right?
Yeah, 25th in total defense, 45th in scoring defense. So 25th in total defense, 45th in scoring defense. I think our own Irish show fellow, if he hasn't already, I think he might be working on a story about the defense and field position and kind of how they haven't been, they haven't had a lot of great leverage to play with.
Well, and he mentioned that in his 3-2-1 about the scoring offense versus the yardage gain versus the points produced. And yeah, they're not commiserate right now. Like you are commensurate. However I'm supposed to say it. I forget everyone. We'll get it right one of these times, folks. The total yardage gains should be producing more points. Some of that is you didn't have a kicker. That doesn't help. A kicker you trusted, sorry. And also your 4th down conversion rate is abysmal. And you've made some really poor decisions, coaching and quarterback-wise, in the red zone.
126, sorry, Corey. They're 126th in 4th down conversion percentage. I'm sorry, 123rd.
Wait. Well, how did you mess that up?
Because
how did you go from 126 to 123?
There's 4th down conversion percentage, then 4th down conversion percentage defense. So they're 4th down. They're not good in either of them, unfortunately.
Oh no!
But yeah,
that's not good at all.
Opposing teams, it looks like they're, if I'm reading this right, are converting 77% of their 4th downs on Florida State. Meanwhile, Florida State's converting only 30% of their 4th downs.
Yeah, that's not great.
But
But the point is, you see an offense that can move the ball. Yeah. You see an offense that is a real offense, and it is a bear to prepare for, and is it a bear to defend. Mm-hmm. It's not producing as many points as it should. But what if that switch flips? What if the outage on the scoreboard, the output on the scoreboard matches the output in the yardage? All of a sudden, now you're averaging an extra touchdown a game. And, again, do the math. What if they just scored a touchdown extra in these last 2 games? Well, they win them. Yeah. So I just think that if they can find a way to play those spots and those situations better, and it will help that they're not playing as good a teams, that should produce more points and more wins. And I also think the defense will be better. And I was not a fan of the defense, as everybody knows, against Clemson. I think the defense will fare better as we move on, because, again, Georgia Tech isn't Clemson. Louisiana isn't Louisville. Miami, even though they look better, they scored 17 against North Carolina and 20 against Virginia Tech, and those are two very bad defenses.
Yes.
So they're not exactly rolling up and down the field either. So you've got a chance here to right the ship against lesser competition, and then if you play to the way you've been playing, you play to your capability offensively, you should win a few of these games by multiple scores, man. Like, I just think they're right there. They need a 35-9 type win, or like another Boston College game against Georgia Tech, to really feel that. And then you go into Miami with a ton of confidence, because you're going to need it. And then it doesn't matter if you beat Miami 2-0. You need to win that game. Yeah. But I just think you go into that game with a ton of confidence, and you feel like you've righted the ship. The scoreboard needs to match what they're doing offensively, because I think what they're doing offensively is pretty almost elite. PFF thinks it is elite. I mean, if you're sixth in the country, you're an elite offense. They're not putting the numbers on the scoreboard to match that necessarily, but maybe that's about to come.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll meet you there. I don't know if I'll meet you at elite, but it's worth mentioning. It's a
hey,
number.
That's PFF's, buddy. That's
yeah.
That's Pro Football Focus.
Yeah.
That's Pro Football Focus. That's not Corey. I'm not saying they're elite. Pro Football Focus is.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
If they can figure out a way to throw a jump ball to Johnny Wilson, that would help.
Yeah. We'll take it. We'll take the sixth offense, PFF. Put that on a recruiting pamphlet. Mail it out across the entire country. Let them know. Let the world know. Corey's going to be humble and not want to talk too much about his story that he wrote up on Link Jarrett based off the interview that he did.
Well, mail it to
Tuesday.
all the other schools, too.
Yeah. But we did speak to Link Jarrett on Tuesday afternoon, head coach of your Florida State baseball program. Go check out the interview. It's 18 minutes. It's long, but maybe 3 or 4 minutes is all you want to dabble in. That's fine. Just get a feel for who he is. I think you'll like him a lot. Captivating dude, I think. He's not when he won the press conference. It's because the press conference is over. Just this guy's got a plan. He's got a vision. I feel really good about Florida State. It was the easiest hire Michael Alford's probably ever going to make in his career here at Florida State. Just everything lined up, everything made sense, and he eloquently kind of stated some of the things he's trying to get done here. He did compliment the freshman bats and the pop. I don't want to say his name wrong, but they got a kid with the last name Ross that he's really excited about, that I think he circled to twice when we asked him about the offense. James Tibbs is coming off an injury, so they'll kind of work him back into things. He did lament their lefty bats, the lack of lefty bats in the lineup right now, but obviously mentioned it's so early here that they're not really trying to define roles, but just figure out what they have and kind of go from there. They will have an exhibition Saturday at noon against Kennesaw State, so it is an off week for the football team, but if you're in town, you should go to Hauser and check out what Lincoln the boys are going to do. Plus, this whole new turf thing, like the new playing surface they have, at least on the base paths. It's still sod. It's still natural grass everywhere else. It's pretty cool, man. It's also got white pellets, Corey, instead of the black ones, so it doesn't get nearly as hot as, say, like the IPF would if it wasn't roofed and sheltered. So, and also he invited us to go check out the batter's box, but I couldn't because I was set up my camera. But he said apparently whatever surface they use in there, it really mimics natural clay about as close to it as you possibly can get. A couple of the guys went and checked it out, like, wow, yeah, kind of impressive. So it's fall ball. We're still far away from baseball starting up, but do check out Corey's write-up over on the site, kind of distilling the big takeaways from Link's interview. But feel good about the baseball program. Excited to see how they go. But let's get this football thing.
Does he in person, because I haven't gotten to meet him in person yet, does he look as much like Jim Harbaugh as I think he does?
He had shades on and a hat, so not as much. Yeah, not as much.
Okay.
Didn't come to my mind at all when I was looking at him. The cool thing about him is, man, we were fanned out, all of us in the media. I mean, we were probably like, I don't know, there's like 5 or 6 of us, so we were probably 12 feet, 15 feet wide. Man, he would look at me when I'd ask him a question, and then, Kurt Weiler would ask him a question, and he would and he was on the whole opposite side of me. There's like 4 other people between us. He would pivot his whole body, Link Jarrett, and like look directly at the person asking him the question. But your guy, I got him clipped on the mic. the mic that Corey Clark wears when he does the Warchant rap, so you can hear everything just fine, everything crystal clear. But yeah, he's very intent on looking at you and talking to you directly, so you'll dig it, Corey. You like that. You like that personal attention. So
I can't wait. I can't wait to actually introduce myself to him. It's going to happen one of these days.
All right, so check out Corey's write-up with Link Jarrett. Henshaw's house might be dropping. I mean, it's an off week, but Ira's working on a Henshaw's house. Those are the sit-downs that he does with former NFL coordinator, former Florida State coordinator, George Henshaw. Again, bigger picture sort of looks from a guy with a nuanced and very educated outlook on things. We'll be back out at practice. We'll have more observations. We're going to do a live show someday this week. Maybe it'll be today. Maybe it'll be Thursday. Maybe Corey will tell me in the next 15 seconds. Who knows? But we'll also do a Renegade Express, too, to wrap up the week. So stay connected to warchant.com. If you could, please the thumbs up here on YouTube or leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple or iTunes. That'd be really cool. For Corey, I'm Aslan. Thank you so much for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.